Big shout out and thank you to today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the easiest way to start your own website. Should you buy new or should you buy used? The name of the game is to save money, right? So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about when you should buy new and when you should buy used. I hear this all the time. Don't buy this piece of garbage, just buy used. If it was that easy, I would agree. Buy used all the time, but it's not always that easy. There are a lot of things to consider. How old something is. What is the availability if it is used? And there's some stuff that you should never buy new. But first, a word from our sponsor. Squarespace. Do you want to start your own website? You should start your own website. And where should you go to start your own website? Squarespace. Squarespace.com is the easiest way to start your own website. You just go over there, you type in a few things about your business or what you want to create, and it gives you a whole bunch of different templates. Dozens! The only thing you have to do is drag and drop some pictures and go to the text box and fill it out with your information about your business, and then you're done. You want to do an email campaign? Well, Squarespace has you covered. Squarespace has an entire support center that you can type in and learn to do whatever you want to do. You want to sell stuff online? Squarespace has you covered. Do you want to create your own portfolio of photos? Squarespace has you covered. You want to plan a family vacation? Squarespace has you covered. I know, that seems like an odd use case scenario, but Squarespace still has you covered. You can start a trial on Squarespace without even giving them your credit card information. You can check out and see what it looks like. I have built 3 Squarespace websites, and it's a snap. You can have one up and running in no time at all. Go and find your domain. Could be yellowdusterenthusiast.com or .net or .org. Type it in and see if it's available. So run on over to squarespace.com/cheapaudioman and use the code cheapaudioman to get 10% off your first order, domain, whatever it is you want to buy. It has never been easier to create your own website. You should all have your own website, even if it's just reservingyourname.com. So go over to squarespace.com/cheapaudioman, use the code cheapaudioman and get 10% off your first order. Thank you, Squarespace. One of the first items, if you're going to get it, kind of depends on the product. It's a CD player or transport. I personally would buy a new one. Granted, there are a bunch of great used ones out there. Actually, Oppo Blu-ray player, CD players, kind of the gold standards when it comes to CD players and transports. The problem is Oppo is not in business anymore, or at least they're not making CD players anymore. And they're quite a bit older. I have an Oppo Blu-ray player that I use for CD duty sometimes, but it wasn't easy to find. And even if you do find one, if it breaks, chances are you're not going to get it worked on. And the problem with Oppo Blu-ray players, CD players, are they're expensive on the used market. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But if I'm getting into CDs now and I have some money to spend, I'm probably looking at a Cambridge CD player around $300 or a Cambridge CD transport. And a CD transport just means it doesn't have a DAC. So you will need an external DAC, or you'll have to use the DAC that's in your integrated amplifier or your receiver if you get a CD transport. Audiolab also makes a CD transport for around $600. Denon and Marantz also make CD players / transports / streamers for around that $500 to $600 range. If you want to get into CDs and you're on a budget, then go buy a Blu-ray player or something like that. Usually you can find those new for around $100. They're not going to be the best sounding components out there, but it's going to get your toe into the CD pond for not a lot of money. So probably get a new CD player, transport, DVD player, whatever it is, simply for the peace of mind of the warranty, because there's nothing like going out and spending $300 on a used Oppo DVD player or Blu-ray player and have it last a week. And then what do you have? You have a $300 paperweight. When to buy used? If you're getting ready to hit buy now, just search it out. See if that specific model is available used around you on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or Audiophile. You may be surprised. You may find exactly what you're looking for, except it's 25% cheaper. And if it's in decent shape, if you can go take a look at it, hold it, and feel it, then why not? You should always check and see if what you're interested in is selling close to you. Probably isn't, but you never know till you try. Affordable streamers I would buy new. Things like the Wii Mini, the Arylic stuff, anything that's probably below $500, I would just buy it new, because a lot of those items already have coupon codes and are on sale anyway, especially the stuff that comes directly from China. If it's something like a Blue Sound or a Hi-Fi Stream, Zen Stream, buy it used, because there are a lot of those out there and they have gotten a little bit better. There's incremental improvements when they put out a new model. So if you get a Blue Sound that's about 2 years old, it's going to be pretty much just as good as a new one, but you're probably going to save $150 to $200, which on a $500 product is quite the percentage of discount. And if you're looking at high-end streamers, I would always buy used. Just make sure that you're doing your research and you find out when that was new. And you don't want to get something that's probably 5 years old for a streamer. Maybe if you're not using it for streaming services, if you're just using it for your own digital media, it's probably okay to go a little bit older. For affordable streamers, I'd go new. Higher end streamers, I'd probably see if you can find something used. Turntables, I would always buy new. I just did a review on the Orbit Theory. I'll actually put it right here if you want to check it out. It has a 3-year warranty, and guess what? Turntables have moving parts, and they have stuff that wears out. Personally, if I'm buying a turntable, I'm getting it new. Even used vintage turntables, even if there's a huge deal on them, I've heard it over and over in my Patreon community, how somebody gets a really nice looking vintage turntable and almost immediately it needs some type of work. And there's not a lot of people out there that can work on these tables. Hopefully, maybe in your community or city, you do have a reputable, reliable, and affordable way to get your vintage equipment serviced. But a lot of times people don't, so I would just go ahead and pull the trigger on a U-turn or a fluence and be done with it if you're getting into vinyl. Pretty much anything that has rotating equipment, I would buy new. If you're looking at products from Rotel, Parasound, Marantz, the newer Marantz stuff, probably within the last 5 years when it comes to 2-channel stuff. But if you're looking at Anthem, Arcam, a lot of these products, traditionally distributed products, I'd see if you can find it used. Because a lot of these products aren't super complicated inside and they're going to last a long time. It's not super high end to where people are going to be holding on to it for a long time, and it's not cheap. There's a certain level of quality that you're going to get with a used Rotel or used Anthem, as long as it's not super old. 10 years and newer, I would look at those. Bear in mind though, if it has a DAC in it, chances are that DAC's not going to be the latest and greatest. It's going to work, but obviously it's not going to have the latest technology inside. Those types of products though, that, I hate to use the term mid-tier, but that mid-tier of hi-fi products, hi-fi companies, is a great place to find really good deals used. Used floor standing speakers, although not super old floor standing speakers. There's a weird thing when it comes to used speakers. The stuff that's current, you can usually get a really good deal on. But then there's other stuff that maybe is 10 to 15 years old that for whatever reason, people just think it's worth way more than it is. If you're buying a floor standing speaker though, you have all the power in the negotiation though, because nobody is going to want to ship those anywhere because it's going to cost a mint to ship it. So if you find the model you're looking for, or at least one you're interested in, that's hard to say. I had to do that like 5 times. Make sure that you know how old it is, and make sure you know what it cost when it was sold new. Because some people think those old speakers are worth way more than they are. Shoot them over an offer, and if they don't like it, just wait on it. Chances are they're going to want to sell it anyway, especially if they're moving. Go and find your high-end store in your city or one of the surrounding metropolitan areas and look at every brand that they sell. And then just go look for those brands used, because chances are they're going to be higher end products. And unless people are holding on to them for a long time, people are just going to be kind of getting one and then maybe trading up. That store may actually have a used section or a demo section. But if people are trying to sell stuff online by themselves, look for those brands. They're going to be brands that aren't household names, but are going to be built really well, but they're going to be super expensive, and I'd never recommend buying them new. But used, you're probably going to get something that's super high quality, and it's going to be a lot less than what they're trying to sell it for. Of course, do your own research. Make sure it's a product that you're going to like the sound of. But you can find decent deals on stuff like Macintosh that's probably 5 years old or newer. DACs, digital to analog converters. If it's less than $1,000, I would buy it new. If it's over $1,000, I would look to see if I can find it used, as long as it's current within the last 3 or 4 years. If it's an R2R DAC, then I would definitely look to see if I can find it used, because that's not going to have the processors, that's not going to have the chips that aren't going to age well. So stuff like the Denafreps Aries, the Denafreps Pontus, anything that's R2R, definitely see if you can find it used. Then anything that's less than $1,000, I would look for it new, simply because technology is changing very quickly with DACs, and it's cheaper and more affordable than ever. And you can get a really, really good sounding DAC for $500, where that DAC may have been $1,500 to $2,000 5 years ago. It's kind of like flat screen TVs. Economies of scale have driven the prices down on these DACs. So I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed. I do this for a living, so it would mean the world to me if you like this video and subscribed. So if you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Saturday night we have Patreon-only Zooms, Patreon-only Discord, Patreon-only Facebook group. You can also use the links in the description. Those are affiliate links, which means if you click and you buy, I do get a commission, but it doesn't cost you any more, so it's a great way to support the channel. You can also use the thanks button down at the bottom of the video next to the share button. Click, buy me a cup of coffee, but don't feel compelled to buy me anything. You can also sign up for Amazon Music, Tidal, or Ruin. Links in the description. Click sign up. There's a trial period. Even if you quit, though, I still get a couple of dollars. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Maybe go out and buy some new or used hi-fi equipment and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.